Hello, everyone, and welcome. You are with me live again today. We are going to be coming out to you from Florida, and I have Shelby, who is AKA. Her handle on Instagram is Wash Your Own Brain. She has put together an event for us today, a free speech event. And as we always say, as myself and Kay Yang always say, this is the public record of our dissent, and this dissent can even be made one woman at a time. I see Kay Yang is in the chat with us today, so that is amazing. And let me read you all a little intro about Wash Your Brain. We are hearing from Shelby G. She is a wife and mother of two. She's been a resident in Ocala, Florida for most of her life. One of her children, age 6, is autistic, and protecting her autistic child from an ideology that specifically preys on children like him is her driving motivation, as well as the fact that she is, of course, a woman. She is passionate about helping to free the Western world from the grips of the big pharma industrial complex by researching and educating about the specific biological mechanisms that are responsible for severe neurodivergence, mental illness, autoimmunity, and physical ailments. She is also passionate about radical birth and motherhood, stressing the importance of following intuition in parenthood and raising alarm bells on mainstream media manipulation and propaganda. And you can find her on Instagram at Wash Your Own Brain, and that is in my show notes. And so now we are going to go live in Florida with, oh, here, can I do it like this? I'm going to go live in, other way. I can't do it the other way. Okay, I'm going to go live in Florida with Shelby. So she is speaking to us on the ground, and she has a speech prepared. I also want to thank all of the women who are watching with me live. Of course, we saw the deprogrammer here, Pinwheel, Jennifer Delagaza. Thank you for being here. Amina, you've got Turf Mail, Chicana Feminista, VF555. I appreciate you all. Judy G, Heather Scalzi, thank you all for being here today. All right, so Shelby, please welcome. How is it out there today?
All right. The weather's pretty nice. Good sunny day. There's not a lot of people around, but a lot of people walking by. So hopefully we can get a few people to stop. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna since it's you, I'm gonna have you show your sign, but then maybe when you talk, you can come a little closer to the camera so we can hear you.
All right. Well, my sign just says no one's born in the wrong body, of course, because they're not. Whose would it be if it was not their own?
I love it. Well, thank you so much for putting this together. As I say, as Kay Yang and I always say, this is the public record of our dissent, and all it takes is one woman to show up. We are going live with it. We are recording these. We can refer back to them. Kay Yang and I were speaking today about the protest at the UN. We did that in March of 2022. We did not get much press at the time, but because we recorded it, because we made a public record, that footage was then used when Kay Yang was interviewed on Fox News this past week. So even if it seems like there is nothing going on at the time, even if it seems like no one is showing up at the time, these are public records, and they might be picked up at any time and grab attention from worldwide and international media. So that is why we do this. That is why we stand up. And I see so many great women. But I'm going to pass it over to you. I'm going to give you the screen, Shelby, and I'm so excited to hear your speech.
All right. Well, I'm going to be kind of riffing it at first. If I lose my place, then I brought my speech from Jacksonville, if anybody heard that, if I feel like I am losing my place. Okay. So, here we go. Ocala! The house is on fire and your children are inside. The house is on fire and your grandchildren are inside. There is an ideology taking over the Western world, and your child is not exempt. Your grandchild is not exempt. They will encounter this ideology. It is not a matter of if, but when. This ideology tells them they can be born in the wrong body. This ideology tells them that they need to cut parts off of them to be who they actually are. This ideology tells them that they have to like the right things that match their body. All right, sorry, just 1 second, guys. Ocala, the house is on fire and our women are inside. There is an ideology that has women locked up with actual rapists in prisons. There is an ideology that has erased the word woman from our legislation. Biden has changed Title IX, which protects our sex-based rights, to being gender-based rights, gender-based protections. And by gender, he means self-ID, which is anything you say you are. You cannot have women's rights if you don't know what a woman is. You cannot have women's rights if the legislation will not recognize a woman. Biden has already done this. This is not a warning of what will come. This is a warning of what has already happened. There are already rapists in our prisons. There are rapists in women's domestic abuse shelters, women's crisis shelters. There are women or men in women's restrooms, our locker rooms, and anywhere where we are supposed to have privacy for our sex-based rights. Some water again. Can y'all hear me okay? Amy, can you give me
Yeah,
a
I
thumbs
can
up?
hear you. You're doing great.
Awesome. Okay. As I was saying, women are locked up with rapists. 48.5% of males who pretend to be women that are in prison are there for raping women, and they are being put in women's prisons. This is happening all over the world. This is not just the United States. This is a coordinated effort by organizations such as the United Nations and the World Economic Forum. They have 17 Sustainable Development Goals, all of which include gender identity, which is self-ID based on whatever you say you are. This is not safe for children. This is not safe for women. We need children safeguarding and women safeguarding. We cannot teach children to ignore their very basic instinct of knowing what a man or a woman is. Men commit over 87% of violent crime and 97% of rapes. So if you tell a child that there's no difference between men and women, you are putting them at risk. You are teaching them to deny their instincts. This is grooming behavior. We cannot allow this in our society. We cannot allow this because we are too afraid to speak up. We cannot allow this because we're too afraid to tell people how they must live their lives. They can live their lives how they want, but when it starts to impede on other people's rights, we cannot allow this in a just society. Women's rights are at risk. We cannot allow men in our private spaces.
I like to poop alone.
Emily likes to poop alone. She doesn't want men in there.
Love it.
All right, yeah, let me skim through here real quick. Okay. I'm just going to read off of here from now for a moment. I might stop from here and riff it again. Okay, we are told we are hateful bigots for simply defending women. At best, we are consistently asked, why can't you live and just let live? Because gender ideology teaches us that reality does not matter. It forces us to speak lies. When an ideology cannot tell the truth, it becomes a cult and a religion. I'm not trying to say all religions are lies, but I'm just saying it has become a religion because it is based on faith and nothing more. There are no facts within it. It is an ideology that reinforces sexist stereotypes. It teaches little girls that if they like cars and mud, or little boys that if they like baby dolls or sparkles, that somehow means they were born in the wrong body and they have to cut themselves up, take wrong sex hormones and puberty blockers to be who they actually are. If you want to be your authentic self, you don't need these things. Puberty blockers are the same drugs that are used to chemically castrate convicted pedophiles. The effects of puberty blockers are not reversible. When a child starts puberty blockers and they go on it for 4+ years, those 4+ years of puberty cannot be made up. They missed that time. It is done. They can't go back. 98% of children who go on puberty blockers go on to start wrong sex hormones. The effects are done. They cannot go back. This is an ideology that supports and encourages the sterilization and mutilation of children and young adults. In some countries, it would be called female genital mutilation, and we'd gasp in horror. But here we call it bottom surgery, and we say people have the right to do what they want. Children do not have the right to get surgery. They do not have the right to get surgery to affirm their gender ideas or how they feel about themselves. When a woman suffering from breast cancer must get a double mastectomy to save her life, we weep with her and we mourn her loss. When a 16-year-old girl here in America wants her healthy breasts removed, we celebrate it as top surgery. This is an ideology that promotes extreme mutilation and sterilization. Over 90% of trans-identified people today are actually women. Women choose to try to identify as men because they think they can escape the sexualization of being a woman. This is an ideology that hates women. This is an ideology full of internalized misogyny. This is an ideology that has gone so far woke that it has come full circle back to being homophobic. They tell you that having a genital preference is transphobic. That if you care about what's in someone's pants when you're choosing your partner, then that is transphobic. If you cannot care about what sex your partner is, then that tells you that a gay person who is only attracted to their own sex should just get over it and date someone of the opposite sex. That is called gay conversion, and that is not okay. This started with people like John Money, Alfred Kinsey. John Money was a sexologist. He did an experiment on twin boys at 8 months old. One of the boys lost his penis in a circumcision, so they raised him as a girl. At the end of the experiment, both boys committed suicide, and the experiment was failed. However, this experiment and John Money's ideas are the basis for everything we know about gender identity and gender ideology today. Sorry, y'all. Let me get a sip of water real quick.
You're doing great. The women are loving it, Shelby, and your speech is just so on point. Thank you for calling out the founders, John Money, and their pedophilia and what they're doing to kids. We appreciate your speech so much. You're doing great.
All right, here we go. This ideology specifically targets certain kind of people. First and foremost, obviously women. Like I said, 90% of trans-identifying people are women. These women are told if they just cut off their breasts, then they can be men. This is not true. This is a lie. This is not mental health care. This is not mental health care. It is not okay to tell someone they were born in the wrong body. That is evil. That is evil. You love someone for who they are. You do not tell them to take wrong sex hormones and chop off their body parts. In a society where young girls and their developing bodies are so sexualized and scrutinized, it's pretty obvious why many young girls think they can opt out of womanhood by participating in this ideology. They think that if they just take some hormones and chop off their breasts, they can be one of the boys and reap the benefits of being male. They will never be one of the boys. By the time they realize this, it will be too late. Their bodies are destroyed. They are castrated. They're sterilized. Their breasts are gone. Even if they were able to somehow still have a baby, they couldn't feed them with their body as nature intended. Children are also highly targeted by this ideology, specifically autistic children. My own child is autistic. I will never let this ideology attack my child. 1 in 44 children in the United States is autistic. Autistic children are particularly vulnerable to transgender ideology because they are not only very trusting, but they're also very likely to deal with high levels of discomfort in their changing bodies. On top of that, autistic children are highly fixated on, hyperfixated on specific topics. But it is not just autistic children. All children will encounter this ideology. All grandchildren will encounter this ideology. You need to be prepared for what you need to say when your daughter or your granddaughter or your grandchild, your son, whoever, your niece, your nephew, comes to you and says they think that they are the wrong sex. They want me to put them on wrong sex hormones. I don't know what to do. I'm told if I don't do this, then they're going to kill themselves. That is a lie. Suicide statistics do not change pre and post transition. There is also data to show that suicide statistics get worse because it is not the solution. It is just self-harm and self-mutilation. I got it. The foot soldiers of this ideology rush parents into making decisions that are irreversible and life-changing to their child. There are already several places in this world where you can go to jail for misgendering children or your own child. Ask our neighbors to the north in Canada. Ask our friends across the pond in the UK. There are people that have been to jail for misgendering. There are people that have lost custody of their children for refusing to call them by their preferred pronouns. There are people who haven't talked to their children in 5, 8 years because their children disowned them over this ideology. Do not let this happen to your child. Do not let this happen to your grandchild. So who is it that is actually targeting these children? Who is doing this? There are a lot of people, actually, a lot of different groups with many different motivations. But first of all, we need to look at the top, which is the organizations that I stated before, like the UN and the World Economic Forum. We need to talk about the gender clinics. Right here in Florida, Miami, Florida, there is a doctor named Dr. Gallagher. She is the third highest paid gender surgeon in the world. She's one of the highest paid surgeons in general in the world, right here in Florida. And up until just recently, when the law was changed, she was chopping off the breasts of girls as young as 15, 16 years old. She, to this day, on girls 18 years old and older, she is cutting off the breasts of 4 to 6 girls a day. Think of how many women that is in a year. Women come in from all over the world to right here in Florida, our home, to get their bodies mutilated and their breasts chopped off. From 2007 to today, the number of gender clinics for children has more than quadrupled. It has went from 2 to 3 to tens and tens and tens of them. They are everywhere. This is not going to stop itself. It will not stop until people decide that they've had enough. Here in Florida, we feel very safe from this ideology because it's a pretty red state. We have DeSantis. We have the wrongly called Don't Say Gay bill that actually never mentions the word gay, that protects children up to 3rd grade from gender ideology. In 4th grade, children are usually about 10 years old. They can start talking to this stuff, even here in Florida, to your children. Know what's happening in your schools. Know what your children are being taught. 10 years old, they can start teaching your kids this stuff legally. Huh? What about it? Just so y'all know, I'm live streaming right here. I'm live streaming online right here, just so y'all know. Hi.
They coming from the 7th Infantry, Germany. Second to 503rd, 173rd Airborne, the fucking herd.
All right, sorry about that, y'all. Okay. So, happy people. So
You're doing great.
Another group of people that are targeting your children are autogynephiles online. Autogynephilia is a fetish. It is a fetish of men to find themselves attracted to themselves as women. This is why so many men choose to identify as women, but they are still straight. They are heterosexual. They still like women. This is what makes them so dangerous in our spaces. 95% of men who identify as women still have their penis and will never, ever remove it. That is why they are dangerous. 97% of sexual assaults are done by men. We cannot have them in our spaces. It doesn't matter how they say they identify. Title IX, Biden already changed our legislation from sex-based protections to gender-based protections. This means you no longer have sex-based rights on the basis of being a woman. You only have sex-based rights based on what you say you are, regardless of what your body is. This has already happened. It's not a warning of what's to come.
You're doing great. Careful of the men behind you. What are they up to? Okay, I was just concerned.
Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. All right, he just wanted to give us some Bible verses, I guess.
You remain in me, and I in you. You will bear much fruit. John 15:5.
Okay. All right. WPATH, the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. They are the world authority on the medical treatment of trans children and adults. They make the guidelines for standard of care which all gender clinics in the United States and across the world follow. They are very often referenced in academic literature regarding gender. A little bit of background. WPATH came out of the Harry Benjamin International Gender Dysphoria Association, which was founded in the 60s. This Harry Benjamin was the same kind of man who ran in circles with John Money, who coined the term gender ideology, raised two twin boys, one as a girl, and then both the boys ended up committing suicide. So Harry Benjamin ran in those kinds of circles. He was known to be a snake oil salesman before he decided to focus on sexology. A little more background on WPATH. The former president, Eli Coleman, was heavily involved in sex offender research prior to becoming the president of WPATH. During his research on sex offenders, he was a strong advocate for the use of Lupron to castrate the high-risk offenders. Whenever Eli Coleman left the prison system and began working with the transgender system, he recommended Lupron as a puberty blocker for children. The same person. It was not an accident. There are names for people like Eli Coleman, and they're called a castration fetishist. And these kinds of people are targeting your children. It is not an accident that he recommended the same medication for both groups of people. The website for WPATH links to a resource for eunuchs, which they consider a eunuch a gender identity. On this website, they link to a bunch of written pornography centered around their castration fetish. They are targeting your children. These are the people that make the standards of care for trans children across the country. There are over 200 gender clinics in North America specifically for children, and they are taking orders from people who link to written pornography about castration on children. This is being instituted in schools. As I said, at 4th grade, they can start introducing gender ideology to your children. Unless you ask, you won't know. They're doing this in our colleges, our workplaces, public events, healthcare. In some countries, they have to ask all people, male or female, if they're pregnant, simply to avoid offending anybody. Experiences that are exclusive to women, such as birth, is having its language changed to erase women, such as chest feeding and birthing person, which is dangerously close to birthing bodies, which is actually what they called black slave women back in the day. Why would any woman support an ideology that compares her to a birthing body and reduces her to her body parts? There is a lot of money behind this ideology. There is a lot of money and a lot of misogyny. It is a dangerous combination because women are in the way of many profitable markets like reproduction, feeding your babies. Nobody makes money when you birth a baby and breastfeed them on your own. They've already capitalized on breastfeeding. Next, they are coming after reproduction. They are coming after our wombs. They are building artificial wombs. They want to put wombs in men. They are coming after reproduction next. They are colonizing women's bodies. There's nothing left in this world to be colonized except for other human beings. Our sex-based rights as women are being removed. Our private places of undress are being invaded. Women are having opportunities and achievements stolen from them. The media and gender cultists love to say it doesn't happen, but it has already happened. There are numerous instances of men in women's prisons, sexually assaulting women. There are even instances of men murdering women, of men winning scholarships meant for women, winning in women's sports competitions. Can you hand me some water out of that bag there? Mouth's getting a little dry here. I think I'm about to wrap it up. Thank you. Gotcha. All right, so I am going to repeat again. Ocala, the house is on fire and your children are inside. The house is on fire and your grandchildren are inside. They will encounter gender ideology at some point in their life. It is not a matter of if, but when, and you need to be prepared. You cannot accept the lies that a child will commit suicide if you do not go along with what they say. You have to be the parent. You have to be the adult. We cannot let this happen to our children.
Yay, Shelby, thank you so much. Thanks for standing out there. Thanks for speaking up for women. We so appreciate you, and you've had so many great comments in the chat. Women are absolutely loving your speech, and we all really just appreciate you being out there and being public and making a record of your dissent and bringing so much quality research to what you're saying. I think what Shelby is showing us today is really impressive because, we all have to fortify ourselves and fortify ourselves with research so that we can speak eloquently to this issue. We are all ambassadors on this issue. We always need to make sure we can be on wherever we go. And so I so thank you for that. I really appreciate you doing that. And this also, I really want to underscore this for all the women who are watching. If you would like to put on an event, even if it is you and one other woman, that is still a record of your dissent. I will put that on my live stream. I will help you put it together. We can do this all together. We need one another to do this. So Shelby, I thank you so much for speaking out in your community. Shelby, you were also telling me before we started, you were at the Miami event of Let Women Speak.
Yep, I was the first speaker there. That was a great event. We had to, move our location in the middle of it. That was already planned though, so that was an awesome time. Soon, hopefully, the same ladies from Miami will be getting together for another event. I think this one was a little too close after the holidays. Everyone's just trying to get back into routines and everything. Everyone's distracted. So I just wanted to keep the momentum going. But I think here within the next month or so, we'll have another event down in Florida as well with more ladies.
Well, I appreciate it. This is actually keeping the women going. Just so you know, this is streaming on my YouTube. It's streaming on my Twitter. It is streaming on my Facebook. Combined right now, you have about 100 women watching you live. So it is very encouraging to everyone who is in the chat, everyone who is watching. And as Amanda Stillman of Keep Prison Single Sex is saying right now, we are all ambassadors for truth, one conversation at a time. And as Kay Yang observed earlier in this chat, and as we are always saying, this is the public record of our dissent, and we do not know when these speeches will be picked up. When Kay Yang and I and Amanda was there also actually, and Jennifer Delagaza, who was in the chat, was there. But when we stood up in front of the UN, we didn't have anyone covering it in the moment, but we recorded it, we put it up. And then when Kay Yang was interviewed this year, that footage was used and put up on Fox News. So we don't know when this may be picked up, but we are creating every time a woman stands up and does this publicly, every time we record it and we make a record of it, it is one more public record that we have of women desisting. And Kay Yang and I would like to say that 2023 is the year of non-compliance. So thank you for standing up and being non-compliant. And thank you for speaking specifically to WPATH. Thank you for speaking to the UN's global agenda. And also thank you for speaking on behalf of mothers. I think this is absolutely an attack on motherhood and our capacity to be creatrixes, life givers. And instead of dehumanizing mothers, we need to honor that capacity and really value it. So I really thank you for standing up for that.
Thank you for hosting my live stream here. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Is there, I know that your sister-in-law is there. Is there anything that she wants to add at all? We can't really tell who she is, so she can say anything anonymously that she wants.
To be honest, I like to go to the bathroom by myself unless, I feel like I need safety. In that case, I might bring my dog or something like, hey dog, please come with me. I really have to poop. Otherwise, I'm like, listen, I gotta go. And then I kind of do like this crazy skirt person thing. So I gotta go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a little like, I need everybody to leave now. I have to poop. And everyone's like, what? And I'm like, no, I need you to leave the state.
All right.
Going to the bathroom by myself is a very nice thing, but you only share the bathroom with other people. It's kind of like they're in here now.
Yep.
So
right.
I'm a pee shy girl.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. I'm gonna go ahead and click off here now. I don't know if you're gonna. Actually, I'm probably just gonna get off, and I might try to see if I can get some interviews with anybody. I'll record them, and if I do that, then I'll.
If you record interviews, you can send them to me. I'll put them up.
Alrighty, I will do that. Thank you for watching, ladies. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Shelby. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here in the chat today. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for adding your voices, your comments, your participation absolutely makes these live streams far more dynamic. I do want to mention to everyone, let me get a link really quick. I am going to be doing a live stream tonight for Partners for Ethical Care. I am going to put the link up there. That is going to be at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. That's a weird looking link, but go to the Partners for Ethical Care. Partners. I can't type and talk. Partners for Ethical Care. Go to their YouTube. I am going to be on their YouTube tonight doing a live stream with Alex Aaron of the Gender Mapper Project, Partners for Ethical Care. I am going to be talking to Brandon Showalter, and I am going to be, and the other gentleman who will be in my chat today is called, oh gosh, now wait, his name isn't in here. Well, anyway, we're going to be talking about Drag Queen Story Hour. So we're going to get into that tonight if you are here. I'm going to put this comment up there. I love you. You've got turf meld. In any case, if you want to join us tonight, I would love to have you. If not, watch it later. It's going to be a really fun live stream. I think most of you probably already follow Alex Aaron, who is the gender mapper. So it's going to be really fun. And Alicia is putting up that she is doing a Substack on overcoming abuse. As always, if you do something like this, tag me here, tag me on Twitter, send me an an email and I will help you amplify. I love amplifying women's work. Usually whenever anyone tags me on Twitter, I will retweet for you. If you send me a DM, I will put up your work. I love supporting other women's work, as I hope that you can tell. I think it's really important for us to amplify one another and the things that we do. We are our own networks. We are our own news sources. Yeah, Michelle, that's 6 o'clock PST. So 9 o'clock EST, 6 o'clock PST. So Pacific time. Oh, Barry Wall. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm so embarrassed about blanking on that. It will be my first time meeting him, so I'm not quite as familiar with him. Thank you all. Thank you. Kiki, the Rad Femme Cat, Lavender, Rose Loves Women, VF555, Laura, Ong, Lindsay, Michelle, Jennifer Pinwheel. You've got Turf Mail, Alicia, everyone, Stone the Crow, Rebecca 23. I saw we had people from the UK, we had people from Switzerland. Someone said they were here from the Bahamas. Chicana Feminista, thank you for being here. Emma in Rome, thank you for being here. Amanda Stuhlman from Keep Prison Single Sex was here. Kay Yang, aka the Deprogrammer, was here. And if anyone hasn't already checked it out, please check out her interview on Glenn Beck. She is, Kay Yang, as we all know, is a wealth of research and information. Her research that she was just spitting out the research so fast on the Glenn Beck show. So that was amazing to see. All right, I appreciate you all being here. I am going to sign off now. Much love. And I'm going to post them earlier. Let me see if I can get the Glenn Beck one. Let me see if I can get that link. Sorry, as I search for this on, okay, here we go. No. Darn it, where is it? Friends, I'm not finding it. I'm not fast at my fingertips. I'm sorry about that. But if anyone is on Twitter, you can tweet me and I'll figure out the link. And I'll have that link ready for the next live stream. I am going to be doing more of these events. We have another event coming up that is going to be live streamed, another free speech event. So I'm really excited to see women keeping the ball rolling on these free speech events. So it's been really exciting to see women keep doing this. If you would like to put up an event like this in your city, reach out to me. I will put it on my live stream. These records are so important. So even if you, if for some reason you don't contact me and you don't get it up live, always record yourself when you do something public, because this creates more and more, these records are so important. And the more we have of them, the more this message of our dissent will be out there. As Kay Yang always says, or as we are going to begin saying, 2023 is the year of non-compliance. So continue to be non-compliant wherever you go. I love you all, and I will talk to you later tonight if you're there. Okay, bye.